I always have questions. I think at the beginning of every work, there's a question. And I feel like the work allows me to work my way through these questions, to chew on certain ideas and explore them through the visual language of whatever medium that I'm working on. That's what kind of keeps me going. I'm always fascinated with the world. I've always got questions. They could be philosophical questions, they could be material questions, but that's what pushes me through. And I'm always, with each and every work, I'm always responding to something that I've kind of encountered in my everyday life. I was watching this documentary on Mike Tyson, and they kept using the word extraordinary to describe him. And so I began thinking about the word and whether or not this was, when we describe things or people, whether or not these qualities are inherent in a thing or if it's a projection. And so I started using the word extraordinary kind of as a focal point.
Extraordinary.
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 The more I pay attention to the word, the more kind of foreign and alien it becomes.
Extraordinary.
Extraordinary. Extraordinary.
So I started collecting these Xeroxes of the title pages of these books, and then working on these very large scale, very labor intensive graphite drawings of the title pages. These later drawings that I'm working on, I'm trying to push them a little bit further into abstraction. There's a lot of subtle value shifts in the drawing. It's easy for my eyes to kind of get crossed and get lost in it. I usually have to step back for a moment. Also, I'm constantly getting in my own way. The lighting here is very dim, and so as I was trying to find a solution to that problem, I noticed that there were these very intense shadows being cast on the drawings. And I decided to start incorporating those. There's a shadow here from this beam that carries down. You can see here this vertical shadow of the column that's cast in the drawing, so I'm adding that. And then my silhouette is here, which comes into the drawing kind of when I stand up against it like this. Kind of tricky as I'm working to see what I'm doing. I like that interplay between the abstract and the representational. This is a recent kind of collaborative work that I've been doing called Interrogating Fiction. This is the first manifestation of one of those works. I think Robin Hood is a great example of like a cultural figure or mythological figure. I know who Robin Hood is. Everybody kind of knows who he is, but I've never read the story. I know Robin Hood through Daffy.
For I'm Robin Hood, and I'm very good at avoiding
and Russell Crowe. So it made me think about, okay, where does this information come from? What is the origin? What is the source? How does it trickle down to us? And that's kind of at the root of a lot of the work that I do, is kind of questioning where our information, where our knowledge comes from, and how it's filtered through culture, how we implicate ourselves in this cultural narrative that we're all a part of, and our roles in that story. We have very specific roles tied into our identity. I'm always trying to reconcile differences. I think that art at its best really shifts our perspective, and it kind of turns our gaze outwards to the world. And it elicits suspicion, and it causes us to question our surroundings. So I think for me, the answers aren't important, but just the process of asking questions, challenging my own assumptions, and embracing other perspectives as well, and other possibilities.